again to the BCHS Bear Network. I'm your host, Gary Ownbey. Today we talk about wrestling here with head coach Ben Smith and a special guest. All of our interviews are available to you on YouTube and also Facebook. Look for BCHS Bear Network and be able to view these free of charge, folks. No subscription fee, anything there. So, Coach, go ahead and introduce your special guest today.
Yeah, I have Austin McClure with me. He is our senior heavyweight, and he also happens to be my team captain. And he got third in the state last year as a junior. And he's currently the #1 ranked kid in 2A public school. So wow. I thought pretty fitting interview to have with us today.
Well, I'm not going to start a fight with you today.
No. Don't let that.
I can embarrass you in front of your coach.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Well, as a heavyweight, I've talked to some of the younger guys, you know, the lighter weights. As a heavyweight, though, you're not too concerned about your weight, but there is a top-out limit that you can't go past this.
Yes, it's 285, and then after Christmas, we'll have a 2-pound allowance. It'll go up to 287, but I'm pretty good. I say about 270, 265. So.
Can you hold that weight throughout the year? I mean, do you lose
Oh,
that?
yeah. I mean, I'll vary about 5-7 pounds usually every other match, but besides that, I usually stay consistent.
Well, I know I've talked to some of the lighter weights, and they have to watch what they eat on match day. Well, with you, I think, okay, I got 20 pounds, you know, room here to maneuver around, so you can eat what you want to, can't you?
Yeah, I can. I try not to be too much of a bad
How long
guy.
have you been wrestling? Where'd you start wrestling at initially?
I started wrestling down at Lake Forest with Coach Ensminger, and I started my 7th grade year. He had actually talked me into it up at Waterworks Marine when he was working with my dad, and he got me to come out on the team, and this will be my 7th year.
Wow, well, it looks like you got a good shot to get deep into the postseason and bring home some championship trophies there for us.
Oh, yeah.
We sure hope you do. Well, Coach, we met last week, and your schedule is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
It's packed full of stuff. Tell us what all has happened since we last
Sure.
had
Yeah.
our last show.
Yeah. So, like I said last week, you know, whoever did the schedule probably needs to be fired because it looked better on paper than it did kind of in person as far as just the logistics of it. But you know, I mean, we talk to our guys about if we're comfortable. We're not, if we're not uncomfortable, we're not getting better, you know. And with the numbers that we have this year, we've got 58, almost 60 kids, not counting girls. And you know, with a lot of kids, you got to provide a lot of opportunities, and so that's what we tried to do. But man, it spread us thin. Like I said, we started with Baylor on Thursday. I think when we interviewed last week, we opened up that night. I was hoping to have a match that Tuesday prior, but when you're pretty good, people don't really want to wrestle you as much as what you would want them to. So right. I couldn't get a match scheduled on Tuesday to kind of get a tune-up, but so we opened with Baylor. And, you know, it wasn't our best night. You know, they're the #1 ranked team in the state. Were at the time. They've since been beaten by an in-state team. So they're the #1, #2 ranked team in the state. And wasn't our best night. You know, they had a couple kids out. We had a couple kids out. I think it can be a closer score. I think it was right at a 17 to a 21 point difference. And you know, wrestling's tricky. You know, you win one when you shouldn't and lose one when you shouldn't. And there were 4 matches on paper there that I thought we were favored in, and Baylor had other plans. And they came really prepared and wrestled well. And I mean, kudos to them. So, you know, we don't have to wrestle out of state to get that level of competition when you got one of the best prep schools, 45 minutes. So. And it's kind of a litmus test. I don't like losing to them. That's why I keep scheduling them because I hope to, you know, 3, 4, and 5 years ago, we owned them pretty well. And so that's kind of what we want to get back to. We followed that up on Friday. I sent Gabby Salinas Rincon up to Knox Catholic tournament. JV was at Ottawa on that Friday. Man, we had like 40 kids just get tons of matches. You know, I mean, we had, like when we walked into the gym, it was like a sea of black and gold. So I'm really proud of those numbers there. Saturday, varsity was at Knox Catholic. We finished second there. Wrestled a bunch of private schools, Catholic, Father Ryan, and all them. My girls were across town at Knox Powell. Had 2 champions, Gabby and then Brianna Pontus, 2 medalists, Kirsten Witt and Brooklyn Stansberry. And then simultaneously, you'll like this one, we had 8 of my better JV kids. I call them my travel squad. They competed in the Ottawa Varsity Invitational. And we had 4 or 5 champions, 3 or 4 champions, and then we finished second as a team with only 8 kids. And we may or may not have finished ahead of another county school in their varsity lineup with my backup. So that's pretty proud of that.
So what do you do in your spare time? Now, what,
That's a good question.
you had a match last night.
Had a match last night. We had two
Cool.
matches last night. So spare time Sunday, slept in, breakfast, church, nap, and then kind of planned practice for the next day. I did put up a Christmas tree up on Sunday. So Monday we had a pretty good day at practice, and then yesterday we kicked off our district last night or district and region with McMinn and Howard. We have to wrestle them, and they're programs that are trying to get better. And so pretty much what we did is we did varsity on one mat, and then we got a bunch of JV backup. And for the first time ever in Bradley Central history, we had girls matches and girls varsity and boys varsity matches on the same night. And so both of my girls went undefeated last night, and I think we lost, 3 matches all night?
Yeah.
3 individual matches out of maybe 100 wrestled all night. So it was a good night. And, Coach Ray Bynum at McMinn's doing a great job. Coach Connor at Howard, their numbers were great. They've got kids out. The sport is growing there. So they're a large school now, which is great. But last night was very busy. Coach Blackman got mad at me for I kind of facilitated the JV freshmen. I was kind of doing the pickup matches while he coached the varsity with Coach Bennett, and I was just getting kids matches all over the place. And so Coach Blackman, he didn't like that he wasn't in charge over there, so I was just trying to get kids matches. But I bought him a coffee this morning and apologized.
So everything's cool then.
I'll rub his belly later at practice and he'll be fine.
So what do you have coming up next this week?
So what do we have?
So Thursday we have Hickson with Signal Mountain.
Signal and Saudi.
Oh, Signal and Saudi at Saudi. And
Correct.
then Friday is Arlington at home.
Here.
And then Saturday we have Cleveland Duels at Cleveland.
So we got a lot of wrestling Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah. I front loaded the schedule. I want to get that 20 to 25 matches in prior to Christmas, because after Christmas we really kind of scale it back, because at the end of the day we're really but we're really looking forward to the second Thursday in January, which is Cleveland, which is a district match, and then that kind of sets us up for the postseason, which would be looking forward to Walker Valley. And then again, everything that we're doing right now is in tune for that second Thursday in January. And so when we come back from Christmas, we'll slow down quite a bit. These guys will get tired of practicing. Right now, they're going to get tired of they're kind of, oh my God, I got to make weight. But if we do a 3-day weigh-in, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that mimics the state tournament. You weigh in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And so when we get to January and February and we're like, look, guys, we've been there. Like 3 weekends in a row, we did it. Like, how to do this. But we get to rest and recover then. But right now, we're working. So.
Well, talking about weigh-ins, you told me this last year. I asked you this very question.
Sure.
When does weigh-in take place on match day? Okay, say if you're wrestling night, when does it take place? Where does it take place, and who does that?
Yeah. So last night we weighed in at 5 o'clock. Okay. You had Howard, McMinn, and us all in the weigh. All like we brought our scale out of the locker room. We set it up in the wrestling room because we had to move a mat out. And then you weigh in side by side. You have to have a singlet on there. You have to have a uniform on. So you have to weigh in uniform, side by side, shoulder to shoulder.
Do you weigh by weight class?
Last night we weighed in by team just because we were weighing in a bunch of kids. So they weighed in their team, we weighed in our team, and then McMinn weighed in their team. Now, as we get closer to the postseason, we kind of tighten things up as coaches, and as December's it's a little bit more laid back, but it's still very official. But I've referenced that second Thursday in January. So what we'll do is when we wrestle Cleveland, we'll weigh in side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and so it'll be 106s come in the room, And usually whatever weight class we start with, let's say we start at heavyweight, then heavyweights weigh in first, and then once heavyweights leave the room, 106s come in, and once weigh-ins start, no one can there can't be any more weight cutting. If you're not in the line when weigh-ins start, then you're out, because at the TWSAA state tournament, they're a lot more strict about it. So we have to tighten things up.
Well, in regard to weigh-in, I guess you as a coach are more concerned with the lower weight guys than, say, Big Austin here.
100%. So
and you were wrestling, you know how.
One day when I'm not a head coach and I don't have to worry about weigh-ins, that'll be a great day. The majority of my stress on match days is, GP West told Steve Logsdon, who told me many years ago, don't apologize for what happens on match day, because one of the hardest things that you can do is get 14 high school boys somewhere on time, on weight, ready to wrestle. And so a lot of times, 90% of the battle is showing up with your full lineup, on weight, on time, ready to wrestle. And this time of year, like Baylor, they had 2 big hitters out. We had 2 or 3 big hitters out. Like, tomorrow when we're wrestling Signal, who's not bad, when we wrestle Saudi, who's traditionally pretty strong, we're going to have a couple kids out because strep, injury, weight descent, suspension for being knuckleheads. There's a lot. If you can get your 14 best kids on time, on weight, ready to wrestle,
you've accomplished that.
You're going to win a lot of matches, and so that's team management. And this year, I look at my coaches sometimes. I'm like, man, we do a great job of that. And then there's times I look at each other and I'm like, I look at myself first and go, man, we suck. How are we letting this? How did we let this happen? But
well, Austin, as a heavyweight in practice, you don't practice against the little guys, obviously.
No, I usually go with kids that are a weight class below me or in the same weight class as me, because what we're doing is making each other better.
Ever wrestle with coaches?
Oh yeah, all the time. Coach
I don't
Mike.
wrestle him anymore. He's
Nah.
too big for me. I'll grab him when he's tired on the mat every now and then, but he's surpassed my limit. So.
Yeah.
When you're wrestling, do you prefer the down position to start with or standing up or what?
I usually preferred bottom because I already know I'm going to get a point as soon as I get off bottom.
Yeah.
And then if I'm on top, I know as much pressure as I can keep on them, I'm going to hold them down most of the time.
What's the toughest technique in wrestling to learn to do successfully?
That's a good question.
Gonna stump you on that one.
You got to stub me.
Well, that's kind of specific to your body type. I'm a shorter, stockier wrestler versus, my body type's capable of doing things that a taller, longer, lankier guy is. And with him being like, he's a heavyweight, but he is a very agile heavyweight. That's what makes Austin unique. If you look at him, he's a big guy, but he's not bulging with muscles, and he's got the mullet and the mustache, and he's kind of a deceptive. He beats a lot of, if we went back and watched his state tournament last year, outside of the Anderson County kid that beat him in the semis that won the state title, Austin beat kid after kid after kid that physically probably a little bit better looking, a little bit better, but he is an agile, very light-footed, very technical. He's got this front headlock foot sweep thing that he's doing now that's pretty slick. But what's difficult for him might not be difficult.
Yeah.
For
I can see that.
You know what I mean? So
Makes sense.
There's just physically some things that every body type can and can't do, and so that's kind of a difficult question. But you were asking about practice. We've got a pretty decent heavyweight state champion history here with Patrick Benson and then DJ Adams, and the past 10 or 15 years Lee Jackson, state runner-up. Past 20 years, usually Bradley has, we call it bookends. You've got good lower weights. If you got good lower weights and good upper weights to kind of start things off, most people are pretty good in the middle. But if you got good bookends, you're going to win a lot of matches. And as far as bookends are concerned, Austin is one of the hardest working heavyweights. And I've been around 21, 22 seasons now. Been around all the really
You've
good.
seen the good.
I've seen some good ones. And as far as, I'm not saying he's up there as far as one of the best, but he's definitely one of the hardest working. If you come in there and watch that guy practice, and that's part of why I named him my captain. It had a lot to do with how likable he is. The team likes him. They listen to him. They follow him. He leads by example. He checks all the boxes except for one, But as far as his practice habits, every day.
Well, that's why you have captains.
That's why we have
Lead
captains.
the team.
That's why
Set
we
the
have
example.
That's right.
Hope the others will follow you there.
He leads from the front. Yep.
Well, Coach, we'd like to wish you best of luck in the upcoming matches.
Sure.
Austin McClure, senior captain, heavyweight. Thanks for being with us today. We appreciate your time today. And these shows are all available on BCHS Bear Network, through YouTube or Facebook, and on Twitter as well. Be posted there. So enjoy those. There's no subscription fee at all. Just watch them as many times as you like that. Until next time, we'll talk again, Coach. God bless, and go Bears.